Okay, so let's start today's session. So first of all, we are going to see what you learned yesterday. So yesterday, first of all, we have seen how we can use AWS documentations, how you can search on AWS documentations. After that, we have started our first module that is about cloud computing concepts. So first we have started what is cloud computing. Then we have checked what are the advantages of cloud computing. We have seen why cloud computing came into the market, what all changes it has brought inside IT industry, and we have seen few advantages also, and some similarities between all the components are similar whether you are in traditional infra or you are using cloud computing infra. Only the names are changed. That's it. And then we have discussed what is like web service, and some cloud deployment models are there, and cloud service model. Let me take few questions so you can answer it under your questions area. I'm going to ask you few questions regarding yesterday's session, and then we're going to start today's session. So can you please tell me all the cloud deployment models which we discussed yesterday? Cloud deployment models.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
So public, private, and hybrid.
Yeah, please put your answer inside that question area. I'm getting multiple answers. Please. Okay. I'm reading the. Thank you. Yeah, very good, guys. So the three cloud deployment models are public cloud, hybrid cloud, and private cloud. Okay, very good. Okay, what are the three cloud service models? Yes, it is infrastructure as a service, IaaS, platform as a service, that is PaaS, and finally software as a service. So, for example, suppose I want to have more control on my infrastructure. I've created. I want to deploy some application or infrastructure where I want more control on my infra part. Then I should go with which cloud service model? Very good, Srikanth. Yeah, I got the correct answer. Rishikesh, Raghavendra. Very good. Yes, the correct answer is infra as a service, because when we're using infra as a service, we are creating infrastructure with the help of the different AWS services. So that's why when you are configuring something inside AWS application infrastructure, that means you are having more control. Okay. No, Prasad, you have not missed, but try to join it on time. We have just what we have discussed yesterday, that we have revised, and I've asked few questions regarding that. That's only. Okay. And try to join it on time. Okay. So guys, okay, so yesterday somebody was asking me what is resource pooling. So resource pooling means to share the resources centrally. For example, you can share your storage, you can share your networking components within the application infrastructure. That is the meaning of resource pooling. Suppose you have created one storage, a central storage that you can share with 10 servers. So that is your shared resource shared, shared pooling, resource pooling, in perspective of storage. For example, you have created some firewall, and that firewall you are sharing with 10 machines, 10 servers. That is your network, and network pooling, like network resource pooling. So resource pooling simply means to share the resources inside the application infrastructure. Okay. So whoever I've asked yesterday, I've given you the answer. So no pending now. Okay, Abhishek, I'll just repeat. Resource pooling, it means to share the resources within an application infrastructure. So for example, if you want to share the network resources, you can share it among different servers. If you want to share your storage, you can create a central storage and you can share it among different servers. So that's how you are using the resources in an optimum way. That is the advantage of resource pooling. Okay, so just simply you are sharing the different resources among your application infrastructure. That is the meaning of resource pooling. Okay, guys. So let's start it with the topic now. Everything will be on AWS perspective. So till now, we have discussed what is cloud computing that was needed. What are the basics of cloud computing, the advantages of cloud computing, the different kind of models of cloud computing. Now the entire, this course will be on AWS, the platform which we are going to use to build the application infrastructure. Okay, so let's check out a few points. So yesterday I told you the basic definition of AWS, that is Amazon Web Services. It is simply providing you cloud computing services. It is a public cloud provider. Now let's check out these terms, the definitions. So AWS is a secure cloud platform that offers a broad set of global cloud-based products. Definitely, when you will go to AWS, when you are going to log into AWS, management console, you're going to see different kind of products. Product means services, because this AWS is the owner of, like AWS is, giving multiple services, which are the products of AWS. Okay, so those services we can use and we can create application infrastructures. So they have a wide range of service catalogs, and using those service catalogs, you can resolve any problem inside the IT industry. Whether suppose you are working on machine learning project, you have some services which are aligned towards machine learning. Suppose you want to create some AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality kind of a project. That also you can find few services which are inclined toward this technology. If suppose you want to create some satellite communication, that is also possible using AWS platform. Like that, for like for IoT also, for IoT, that is your like that is also one of the technology. So for that also AWS has provided the solution. So it is having a vast range of services which can help us to resolve multiple, almost all the issues, or like all the issues inside your IT industry. So whatever, suppose like you want to create any machine learning app, if you want to create any IoT kind of a structure, it is possible using AWS platform. So AWS provides you with an on-demand access to compute, storage, network, database, and other IT resources and management tools. Definitely, because it is the funda of cloud computing. So whether you're using AWS or Microsoft or Google, so it is using the same basic concept of cloud computing to provide on-demand access to all the resources to create your application infrastructure. Whether it can be compute power, storages, networking, database, etc., etc. AWS offers flexibility. It offers flexibility. You can use this particular platform anytime. It is very easy to use, very friendly to use. You can access it through through your management console. You can access it through the command line also. So there are multiple ways to access AWS also. We are going to check that in coming slides. You pay only for the individual services you need for as long as you use them. Yes, pay as you go. So whatever you are using, for that you have to pay. That is the fund of pricing inside the AWS. Now AWS services work together like building blocks. Definitely, suppose for example you are creating your house. So for house, what will be the building blocks? All the all the resources which are used to build a house. Those are all the building blocks. Like the sand is there, bricks are there, cement is there. These are all building blocks. So what will be the end product? Once you will use these building blocks, you will form a big house or a small house. Same way, whenever you are creating any application, infrastructure, what are the building blocks? Compute is required, storage is required, database is required, load balancers are required, auto scaling is required, etc., etc. So all these are building blocks. And when you are creating these building blocks individually and combining them inside a single structure, then you will get one application infrastructure created completely. So all these different services are the building blocks which are used to create the application infrastructure. Okay, so compute, Abhishek, compute means your server, your CPU, central processing unit. So your compute will contain, compute is a mixture of your CPU and RAM. So if you will, I can give you an example of your laptop or PC. It is a single compute machine. It is a single server. On the top of that, you can run any application. Like in your laptop, which is a single compute machine. Inside that, you have installed Zoom. And from there, we are able to communicate. You are able to learn this technology. Okay, so that is the meaning of compute. Okay, I think you got it. Okay, so let's go ahead, guys. So these are the different categories I was talking about, that AWS is having vast range of categories. So these are the different kind of categories. These are the AWS service categories, and inside these categories, we have multiple AWS services which are supporting these AWS service categories. Suppose if you want to do some analytics kind of a work, for that also you have multiple services. You're going to see that also. Okay, I'm going to log into the AWS account and then I'm going to show you that. Suppose if you want to do some cost management kind of activity, for that you have some kind of a services which are aligned to this task for IoT, networking, content delivery, application integration, customer engagement, machine learning, robotics, AR, VR, database, blockchain, mobile, so game tech. So any like whatever problem statement you're going to bring on the table, AWS has some or other services for which you will get some solution. That's why I told you they are having multiple service catalogs, and inside each service catalog you will have multiple services which are supporting that particular catalog. Okay, so suppose if I will go to, suppose let me take an example of database. Inside database we are having 4 to 5 options. So you will also have the traditional databases. You also have the modern database. I'm not going to tell you the difference now. I'm just giving you a like the variety each service catalog is happening. We're going to discuss once we are going to visit the database module. So it is having multiple services inside a single AWS service catalog. Okay. So let me just to show you. Okay, let me just log into the account. Let me just try to log in. And today I will also show you how you can create the AWS account. So please don't create the account now. Once I will just tell you like once you will once your this canvas access is over, okay, then you can create the account, guys. Because you are also getting one sandbox, and using that sandbox you can do any kind of a practical. It is free for you. So don't create your account now. So look at this, guys. This is the AWS management console. So once you will create the account, or once you will try to access your account through Canvas, you will be navigated to this screen. This is the home page of AWS management console. Now here, okay, I was talking about the services catalog. So you have to click here on the services and look at this. These are all service catalogs on the left side. We have analytics, application integration, AR, VR, cost management, blockchain, compute, container. Suppose if I click on compute, now look at this. The multiple services inside the compute catalog. We have app runner, batch is there, EC2 is there, EC2 image builder, elastic beanstalk, lambda, light sail, outpost, etc., etc. So in the same way, suppose if I will go to databases, we have these kind of databases which are supported on AWS platform, like DocumentDB is there, DynamoDB, Elastic Cache, Key Spaces, MemoryDB for Redis, Neptune, RDS, etc., etc. So like this, you have like varieties of services inside each catalog. So look at this. Okay, so this is how the service catalog looks. Okay, very good, money. If you've created, that's really good for you. It's no, but please do all the experiment inside the Canvas lab only. Okay, please don't use your account, otherwise you may get into some charges. That's why. Okay, we don't want you to get charged for any service. That's why use your Canvas account, and afterward for your future references you can use your own account. So guys, it is clear how what are the different service categories we have. You don't have to mug up. Nobody is asking you how many service categories in the exam. Nobody is asking you regarding that. Okay, just for your reference that we have so vast service categories. So if you are going to bring any kind of a problem to AWS platform, you will get some other kind of a solution in some or other way. Okay, so let's go back to our learning. So this is one of the simplest solution. Okay, just a very simple infrastructure which has been created. So look at this. This is the user. It is trying to access your application inside the AWS cloud. Inside AWS cloud, you have created one virtual private cloud, that is your networking part. Okay, look at this. This is the example of networking. With this simple solution, they only just want to tell you that under this networking category, we have VPC, which is the part of service. Look at this. If I'll come under the networking, let me come here under the networking, guys. Okay, this is networking. So look at this. We have VPC. So their main aim here to just tell you that whatever services are defined, these are the part of some or other service category. Okay. So user is trying to access your application, which is built on AWS platform. So he's trying to access it through your virtual private cloud. Inside virtual private cloud, we have created one compute, that is your server. Abhishek, this is the compute part. EC2, which is your machine server where your application is hosted. And this machine is attached to one database, which is Amazon DynamoDB database, and it is attached to one storage, which is Amazon S3. Now, all these services are part of different service catalogs. So this VPC is a part of networking, EC2 is a part of compute, DynamoDB is a part of database, S3 is a part of storage. Okay, so now what is networking? Okay, so networking means the how you can like how the communication will be there for your application. Suppose how you want the users to communicate to your application. So for that we have to create one networking. So inside the networking you have to define one network. That network will be your application network, and with the help of that network only the outer users, the customer will be able to connect to your application. Okay, that is the meaning of networking. So currently we are communicating with each other, money. That is through the network. Some network is there. That's why you're able to hear me. I'm able to, hear you. So all those stuff. Okay. Okay, let me unmute. I got a request that I've already unmuted you guys, man. Okay, let me just try to unmute you everything. But please put your queries inside the questions, otherwise it disturbs the whole class. Okay, I've unmuted everyone. I think you guys are already unmuted. Okay. Okay, sure. So now you got it. Okay, this was just a simple representation. Okay, this was just a simple representation that how these service catalogs contain different kind of services. Someone is asking what is the difference between database and storage. So inside the database, okay, you are going to you are going to store the data of your application. Okay, suppose you have created one application form. Okay, so you can create one application form. Inside the application form, you told that under this my application registration form, I need to put 4 values in my name, my first name, my last name, my age, my gender, and my address. Now all these 5 values will be stored inside the database. So for that we are using database, which is one of the layer of your application. Okay, so all that kind of a data, which is your customer data or your application data. For example, suppose you are having an e-commerce application. Your e-commerce application contains 1 lakh items. So all those 1 lakh items will be stored inside the database. Okay. Now what is storage? Storage is the storage is an area you're going to keep all the files. Suppose some images are there. Suppose you are having one that e-commerce application. The data you have stored inside the database. Now where you're going to store your images? That images will be stored inside the storage. So once suppose I am trying to access your e-commerce application. Okay, I am looking for some t-shirt. So once I will request the t-shirt, then the data will be populated from both these things, from database and storage. I will get some data populated on my screen, and then I can select that t-shirt and I can buy that t-shirt. Okay, you got it now with the help of this example. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so this is the simple solution. Let's go ahead, guys. So we're going to create multiple structures. So don't worry, we are going to create the VPCs also. All these parts. You're going to create the whole VPC. You're going to create the machines in DynamoDB. Everything will be coming inside different labs. Okay. So now let's see. Since as I told you, there is so vast services. So many services are there. So many catalogs are there. So think is that, okay, which services you have to choose in which scenario. So the service you select depends on your business goals and technology requirement. Definitely. And suppose you have some X requirement. Based on that only you're going to select one service. If you're having some other requirement, so based on that you're going to select some service. So let me just, these all services are the example of compute. So here I'm going to tell you in which scenario you're going to use which kind of a service. So let's start with Amazon EC2, that is Elastic Cloud Compute. So suppose if you want to create a virtual machine, if you want to create a server where you want more access to your machine, you want to configure that machine. So for that, you have to use this EC2. Suppose you got a requirement that whatever server we are going to use to host the application, we should have the maximum control on that. Okay, so for that virtual machine or server, we are going to use Amazon EC2. Now, suppose we got some requirement that we want to create one serverless architecture. Yesterday, I've told you what is serverless architecture, where you don't have to worry about creating and managing your servers. Everything will be done from AWS, and you only have to worry about your application. That's it. So you got a requirement that you want to create a serverless application. So for that, you know that inside AWS we have one service known as AWS Lambda, which is a serverless component. So you're going to use AWS Lambda in that for that particular user case or for that particular business goal. Now suppose you want to deploy the application very fast without managing the infra. You want to use AWS as a platform, as a service, where you only want your developers to directly deploy the application and you don't have to manage the infra. Infra means all the servers, load balancer, databases, you don't have to manage. You don't have to create. In that case, you're going to use AWS Elastic Beanstalk, because that is the application which is an example of platform as a service, where the developer is going to directly deploy the application without worrying about creating and managing the infrastructure, the application infrastructure, the underlying layer. Okay, now let's go to Amazon Lightsail. Suppose you want to deploy a simple static or a very simple website, some PHP website you want to deploy. For that, you can use Amazon Lightsail. Suppose you have some batch process. Now I'll just tell you what are the batch processes. In IT, we have multiple batch processes running day and night. So, for example, I am running an e-commerce company. Okay, so for a month, you know, I got around 1 lakh of orders in a month. Now, once you know, like by the end of the month, maybe in 30th of each month, you know, I want to check that how many orders I've got. So I want to segregate the details of each and every order and want to create a report and send it to my higher management. So for that, I created one batch job, which is going to run for suppose 2 hours, 1 hour, 5 hours. Based on the data, it is going to do the task. It is going to create the report. So that is the meaning of batch processes. So inside the batch process, we are going to, you know, work on a huge data, and then we are going to do some tasks based on the requirement. So that is the meaning of AWS batch. So using this AWS batch, you can create the batch processes. So in my case, what I have done, I need the detail of each and every order, like in a particular format, in the reporting format. So I created one batch process. It has processed all the orders, and then I've got one report, and that I presented to the higher management. So to some kind of a bulk kind of a task, we use AWS batch processes. So in AWS platform, we have one compute service known as AWS batch, which we can use to deliver this kind of a functionality. So in that use case, I'm going to use AWS batch. Now suppose I own up on-premises infra. Now you guys are familiar with on-premises infra. Suppose I own a company and I already have my infra, and I don't want to use the services outside my on-premises. So what I'm going to use AWS Outpost, which is used to create a hybrid infra. So with the help of AWS Outpost, what is going to happen? We can use AWS services inside the on-premises environment, inside your on-premises infrastructure. So AWS is going to provide you some kind of access, some kind of a privilege, so that you can use their services inside your own infra, inside your own on-premises infra. Okay. Yeah, testing of load can be done. Okay, yeah, it can be done through. But like I have not seen, mainly batch processes we run, okay, mainly to process some kind of a like orders kind of a stuff. For that we have used the batch processes. Okay, Durga. Now let's see about some container-based applications. So I told you today, now when you in this I would say like IT infra. Now companies are developing microservices-based architecture. So there will be small and different kind of services which will be deployed inside some containers and will be running under thousands of containers. And every container will be isolated from each other. So if you want to create that container kind of infrastructure, for that, what you can do, you can use AWS EKS, that is Elastic Kubernetes Service, Amazon ECS, which is Elastic Container Service. And if you want to use a managed part of that, then you can use AWS Fargate, which is a AWS services which is a fully managed service, which is a fully container based managed services. So so these three services, EKS, ECS, and Fabric, are the example of, like these are the example of how you can deploy container based services inside your AWS platform. Suppose if you got any requirement where you want to deploy microservices inside the container, then you can use these services, and you can deploy your container based applications, your microservices inside the container. So the container is just a container where, like, inside a single box. Okay, I'll just tell you in a very layman language. Once you will go to this task, then I'm going to once you will go to this section, I'm going to tell in details. So this container is a box. Inside box, you're going to put the whole application, the binaries, the dependencies, the application code. So the whole application will be running inside a single container. I mean, not the whole application, that particular application component or a microservices, because containers are used to deploy the microservices. So suppose you have created 10 microservices of your application. The microservices mean your functionality of the application. Suppose the login functionality, you have put it inside one container. Then the order processing, you have put it inside the one container. Your order, your login process, you have put it inside the one container. Your delivery process, you have put inside the one container. Like that, multiple services are created for different purpose, and all those services and the dependencies will be put inside a single container. So that container will be responsible for that particular microservices functionality. So containers are used to deploy microservices. Okay, Channa. And now Amazon Lightsail. Actually, Lightsail, Slutty Lightsail is used to deploy, lightweight applications. If you want to deploy lightweight web application, you can directly use Amazon Lightsail. It has having some configuration which helps you to deploy the lightweight applications. Like you are creating any static application or PHP based application, you can deploy it through Amazon Lightsail. It is having that capability. It is, it got added last year only. It was not there in the catalog for the longer time. So they have added this. It is also a part of the compute family only. Okay. Lightweight means, like a static application I would give you, where you don't have to much, get the data from the backend and all. It will be pretty much, the data will be static. Suppose when you are look at this. So suppose I'm typing google.com. So when you type google.com, and then you will get the browser. The browser will have one Google, which is static. And when you are searching the bar, that is a dynamic data. So just a simple application. Yeah, the simple application you can deploy with the help of Lightsail. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Mani. Correct. Okay. So now you come to know, one more is that, this VMware Cloud on AWS. This VMware Cloud on AWS is also used for hybrid solution. For example, like on my on this on-premises servers, people used to heavily rely on VMware servers. They used to buy servers from VMware company. VMware is one company which is very famous for creating the servers. So suppose you already have 100 VMware servers and you want to migrate those servers to your AWS. You want to use those servers on the AWS platform. With the help of VMware Cloud on AWS, you can use those servers. So that will help you to reuse your on-premises servers on AWS platform. So with the help of this VMware Cloud on AWS, you can use this functionality. So on-premises means your traditional infrastructure. I told you yesterday, on-premises or traditional are the same thing. On-premises infra means the infra is owned by me. That is my traditional infrastructure, where people have to buy all the components. They have to build the data center. So that whole, computing part is your traditional computing or on-premises infrastructures. Okay, Madhupale. Okay, so now you come to know that in which scenario. So it depends on your business goal and your technology requirement. Regarding that only, you have to choose a particular service from the different service catalogs. Okay, so now let's go ahead. So look at this. I've already showed you that inside a particular service catalog, we have so many services. Like IoT is having so many services. So same way, they are just showing us that under compute services, we have all those services which we have just discussed in the previous slide. Under security, identity, and compliance, We have these much service, IAM, Cognito, Shield, Artifact, KMS, etc., etc. Storage, we have these kind of a services, S3, Glacier, EFS, EBS. Databases is having these kind of services. Network and content delivery having these kind of services. So like that, in each service catalog, we are going to have multiple services, and out of these services, we are going to discuss multiple services, because the advantage of learning cloud, this AWS Solution Architect Associate certification course is that because you will get to know about many services which are used to build the applications infrastructures. Okay. So now I will tell you how you can interact with the AWS. So first way, I've already told you how you can interact. You can interact with the help of your management console. So here you have to create your ID and password, your account, and then you can log into the management console, which is a very, very easy way to interact with your AWS because it contains all the options, everything is visible. Okay, more graphical way it is there. So it is very, very easy to use. So suppose, if you don't want to, access your management AWS through management console, then you have other two ways to access your AWS services. Either you can use like command line interface, that is your AWS CLI. You can download AWS CLI inside your local machine, and then you can use it. From there also, you can create any kind of a services. You can create the whole infrastructure with the help of CLI also, because you can access all the services. Whatever thing you can access through management console, you can access through CLI also. Now the third way is for the developers, because whenever suppose there is any Java developer. Now the Java developer wants to import some functionality of AWS. Suppose, okay, so in that case, we have the software development kits, the SDK, which can be imported as a libraries inside their code. So inside the Java code, they can import some library of AWS as a part of SDK, and then they can use that functionality. Suppose they want to write a Lambda function in using the Java code in their editor only, in their Eclipse ID only. In that case, they're going to import it to the SDK, software development kit. They're going to import the library, they're going to import all the binaries, and then they can write one Lambda function. And once they will compile the code, then that Lambda function is also going to run on the AWS platform. Okay, so that's how. There are three ways you can interact with the AWS. First one is a very easy way, the AWS management console, which I've showed you, the console, like Outlook. And second is your AWS CLI, which is a command line interface, which is just like a black screen you can see. So if so on that also you can run all the commands. You have to run the commands, and with the help of those commands you can create the infra. The third way is for the developers, that is your software developer kits, that is your SDKs. Okay, so that is your third way, guys. Okay. There are multiple commands for creating all the services. Few commands we're going to learn here. Apart from that, you have to check out the documentation to check all the corresponding commands. Okay. Now, which is most using? Suppose if you want to create a DynamoDB, you can use AWS DynamoDB, and you can do any task like create database, delete database, like that. Suppose if you want to create EC2 machine, then you can use AWS EC2 create instance. These are the different kind of a task. So based on the requirement, whatever you have to create, suppose you have to create S3 bucket, that is having a different command. Nobody is asking you the command, which is the correct command in the examination. But if you want to, learn any specific command, you can check out the documentation. You will get the command to create that particular, component from CLI. So in the examination, nobody is going to test you on the commands. Okay. So I've given you the example of three commands, S31 and, DynamoDB and EC2. Based on that, there are thousands of commands. So based on your user case, what you have to create in the infra, you can use those commands if you're using a CLI. Okay. Okay, now you got it. The three ways how to interact with AWS. Now let's move to another topic. Okay, so this section is finished. Let's take the key takeaways of this section. So AWS, what is AWS? It is a secure cloud platform that offers a broad set of global cloud-based products or services that are designed to work together. So once you are using it together, you can create some kind of a infra. There are many categories of AWS services. We have seen the compute is there, networking and content delivery is there, IoT is there, etc., etc. And so based on your, based on your requirement, you can choose a service among those categories. Choose a service based on your business goals and technology requirement. So based on your business goal, whatever business requirement you will get from the client, based on that you're going to choose the services, and you're going to create the infrastructure. And finally, there are three ways to interact with AWS services. First one is your AWS Management Console, second is your AWS CLI, and the third one is your AWS, one is your SDKs, Software Development Kits. Okay. Now let's check out what is inside the section 4, which is saying that moving to the AWS cloud. So this is a framework which I'm going to tell you in detail. The framework is known as AWS Cloud Adoption Framework. So with the help of this framework, any company who want to migrate from their on-premises or traditional infra to AWS, they can make out the decisions. Each company is having a different story of migrating because they are having a different kind of infra. They're having a different kind of a requirement from AWS, and they want, some companies are having a simple infra. It's like simple architecture. Some companies are having a very, very complex architecture. So migrating journey, that migrating from your on-premises to AWS is different for each company. So that's why what AWS has done, AWS has created one AWS Cloud Adoption Framework, which contains all the good practices, all the guidelines, which each company can, they can read out, and based on that, they can make out the decision whether they have to migrate from their traditional or on-premises infra to AWS. If they find that AWS is helpful for them for the kind of work they are doing, then based on this framework, they can make out the decision. So it is a a very good framework we are going to discuss in detail. So let's check out. So AWS Cloud Adoption Framework provides guidance and best practices to help organizations build a comprehensive approach to cloud computing across the organization and throughout the IT lifecycle to accelerate successful cloud adoption. In a simple way, it helps company to take the decision whether they want to move to cloud or not. That is simple because it contains all the best guidance, the best practices which companies can check out, and based on that they can make out whether they want to move to AWS or not. So AWS CAF is organized into 6 perspectives. So 6 perspectives, I would say there are 6 features or 6 pillars. There are 6 pillars of AWS Cloud Adoption Framework. Now on your screen you can see one diagram. So these are the 6 pillars. The first one is business. The second one is people. The third one is governance. Fourth one is platform. Fifth one is security. And sixth one is operational. So these all 6 pillars are divided into 2 parts. The first one are aligned towards the business goals. So companies are, all these IT companies are having 2 kind of goals. One will be a business goal. Second will be a technical goal. The technical, because whatever thing you're going to, whatever business you will get, that will be based on the technology. That's why there are 2 kind of all these 6 perspectives or pillars are divided into 2 form. For the first, the business, people and governance are the part of business goal. The platform, security and operations are the part of your technical goals. So we are going to learn, we are going to see each and every perspective in detail. So each perspective is having some kind of a capabilities that what each perspective can bring, what are the features of each and every perspective. So let's check out now. So I've told you there are 6 core perspectives. So the first 3, business, people and governance, they focus on your business capabilities. So all your CEOs, your MDs, directors, the people who belongs to the business part of your company, they are going to check out on these resources, on these kind of perspectives. Now suppose that the CTOs, the CIOs, all those people who are the part of technical teams, they're going to check out these technical capabilities, which consist of these three pillars or these 3 perspectives, like platform, security and operations. Now we're going to discuss about all these 6 perspectives in details one by one. Okay, so let's start with the first perspective, that is your business perspective. Let's see what this says. So we must ensure that IT is aligned with business needs and that IT investment can be traced to demonstrate business results. So mainly the business people, like the finance manager, the budget owners, your stakeholders, they are concerned about the business. So suppose whatever things they were doing on premises, can they perform the same kind of a business on AWS or not? Suppose can they create a IT finance team? Can they use those IT strategies on AWS cloud as well? Can can they do this business risk management on AWS cloud? If they find they can do all these kind of activities which are aligned with the business need, which are aligned with the company's business goal, then they will take a decision and they will say yes, we can move to AWS cloud. So mainly all these decisions, whenever you are moving, like whenever any company is planning to move into cloud, then all the higher management, the CTOs, the directors, the senior managers, they take the decision combinedly, and based on that only they move to cloud. Okay, so this is a business perspective entirely on the business part. Now let's check out the second perspective of people's perspective. So here, what this perspective says, we must prioritize trainings, staffing, and organizational changes to build an agile organization. Now, what is agile? Agile means continuous process. The process should be continue. It should not break anywhere. It should be continue, very smooth. So, who are the people who are active in this process? Your HRs, your staffing team. So, what they ask, let's suppose currently we were using on-premises infra. Now we want to move to AWS. So, we have to train the people. So, today we have 100 clients who are who are the part of our organization, and we are supporting those clients through on-premises. Now we have to move it to AWS. That means we are moving all the projects to AWS infra. So for that, we also know that we also want the people to get trained to this particular technology. So regarding all the resource management, suppose if they want to hire a few people who are experienced, who can work on the manager side, who can work on the team lead side, a senior person. So that kind of a resource management they can do. They can hire a few people. Okay, and based on that, they can create some career platform. That one cloud career platform they can create inside the company, where they will ask the people to enroll and take the trainings to build their career inside this new technology, which is a very good technology. So based on that, whenever you are migrating, so HR have to take care of this kind of activity where they're thinking from the people's perspective, their employees' perspective, that once we are going to migrate, whether we have that kind of a workforce that can support the cloud projects, that can support the application hosted on AWS. So for that, they have to plan all the training, they have to hire the new resources. So it is only this is entirely on the people's perspective. Okay. Now, what is the third perspective? That is a governance perspective. So there are few kind of governance policy. Maybe when you are, suppose you are working with some banking client, you are working with some automobile client, you are working with some e-commerce client. Every client is having some different kind of a governance policy, which you have to make sure you have to follow those, because those are the part of the agreement. So whenever you are signing the agreement, that agreement that agreement is for multiple years. Suppose you have signed an agreement of 5 years. They have provided all the points that you have to follow, whatever client has provided. So we have to make sure whenever you are moving from on-premises to cloud, whether what kind of a policies company needs, the whatever policy client needs, are all the policies are getting fulfilled on AWS platform as well. So these decisions are taken by your CIOs, your program managers, your architects, your business analysts. All these people will get engaged, and they are going to make sure that we must ensure that skills and processes aligned IT strategy and goals with business strategy and goals, so that organization can maximize the business value for its ideal method. Nothing but mainly all the strategies which they are going to create, like the project portfolio, or whatever projects portfolio we were creating on premises, whether we can create the same kind of a project portfolio on AWS, whatever licenses we were using on our on premises, can we use it on AWS? Because these licenses are very, very heavy. Like these are very costly. Suppose a single license is costing you around 10 lakhs, which is valid for 5 years. And suppose you want to move to AWS after two years. Now you don't have to buy the license. You have to use that same license. So whether AWS has that kind of a capability so that we can use the same license. So all those governance kind of a perspective, the decision will be taken care with the help of this. The details, the best guide which are provided inside the CAF, that is a cloud adoption framework inside the governance perspective. So all the people who are engaged in this activity, they will make out the decision whether all the all the features of the governance are fulfilled on AWS platform. If yes, then we have a green tick that from our end we are good to move from on-premises to AWS. Okay. Now let's go to the technical side. Now all the three pillars, what we are going to discuss now will be on the technical forum. So the first one is platform perspective. So platform perspective, mainly, here, who will take the decision? Your technical officer, CTO, your IT manager, your solution architect. So what this particular platform says, we must understand and communicate the nature of IT systems and their relationships. We must be able to describe the architecture of the target state environment in detail. Suppose whatever infra you have created on premises, whether that kind of a compute, that kind of a network, that kind of a storage, the databases are available on AWS. If suppose we are running an Oracle database on premises, we want to migrate our database to AWS, whether AWS has the capability to host that Oracle database, whether they have some service which provides like Oracle database server. So this is one of the example of database. Like the same way storage, here we are using a shared storage on on premises. Whether when we are moving to cloud, AWS cloud, whether AWS cloud has any kind of a service which can provide us that shared kind of a storage. So all those things, these technical people, your CTOs, IT managers, going to decide. And if they find that whatever technology they were using on their on premises, are they getting the same or something additional on AWS? If yes, then they're going to move to AWS. Otherwise, it is not, then otherwise they are going to, work on their on premises only. The fifth pillar is the security pillar. So you created the application, but now the security is very, very important. So we have few people like, your IT security manager, your, like chief security officer, chief information security officer is there, your IT security analyst are there. These people help to create the security for your application. So they're going to create, like a different kind of a firewalls and different kind of a component they're going to use so that they can secure your application from unwanted traffic or from the hackers. So what they say, we must ensure that the organization meets its security objectives. Definitely, whenever suppose on premises, whatever security components like they were using are that kind of a components are available on AWS. Can AWS also provide us the same kind of level of security what we were having on premises? Because application security is very, very important. If you're not securing your application and infra, then what will happen? Many people, the hackers can hack your application. You will have a data leaks. Someone is going to, store your data. Someone is going to control over some feature of your application. That's why security is very, very important. So they're going to just check out whether we have what kind of a service are available on AWS platform which can provide security, like IAM is there, infrastructure security is there, whether the data which we are residing on the databases, on the storage, whether the data is secure or not, whether data which is communicating through the network, whether that data is stored or like whether that data is secure or not. So all kind of things related to the related to your application security, all the decision will be taken care with the help of this security perspective. Okay. Now let's move to the final perspective, that is the operations perspective. What is the operation? So whenever the people who are working in IT, they already know this. The people who are not working in IT, they're in colleges. So I'm going to just tell them. So whenever you work in the IT industry, there are two kind of fields, I would say, or like on a very, very higher level. First one will be your application developments, where whole your application development will work, the testing will work, the DevOps engineers will work along with them, and they're going to create one full-fledged application. They're going to deploy the application. Now, once the application is deployed, then also we need some kind of a team to support that application. That team comes under application value management. That is one kind of a department. So under this application value management, you have the operations teams. So once the product is ready, that product got ready from development team. Now development team are going to check out the day-to-day operations of that particular product. They're going to handle that software product to the operation team. Now that operation team is going to take care of end-to-end tasks of that particular application. Any issue, any customer issue, any outages, any upgradation, everything will be taken care by operations team. So operations teams are equally important as your development team. So there are multiple profiles in your IT industry where people also work on the operation side. I have also worked on the operations side as a cloud operations engineer, where we have to we have to check out the issues related to the infra part. We have to do the deployments, all those activities we have to do. So that is a part of operations perspective. So let's check out. So we align with and support the operations of the business. Business is your application and defines how day to day, quarter to quarter, and year to year business will be continued. Definitely, when the support happens, the support goes for suppose like whenever any company is going to sign a contract, they're going to sign a contract for 2 years. That some ABC company is going to support my application. Okay, so that is the operational part. Okay, yes, I am a DevOps engineer. Honey. Okay, so look at this. So here they're telling that the day-to-day operations, the operations of your like infra-based operation, application-based operation. So this process goes for years and years. So they are going to say once we will go into this operations part, once we are going to like support the cloud-based application, whether we have all kind of facilities, all kind of tools which we can with the help of it we can monitor the application, we can do the server monitoring, we can do the application performance monitoring. Can we find out what is our resource inventory, how many resources we are using, okay, how the release management is working, okay, how the disaster recovery is happening, because all these things are the functionality of operations team. Operations team is going to handle all these tasks. Okay, no, these all tasks comes under cloud operations team. All these tasks comes under cloud operations role, cloud operation engineer. Okay, we are having a different task, but I have worked on this field as well. Okay, so now you got it. What is operations team? So whatever things are required to run a smooth operation, because this operations team is going to handle the whole application. Any issue coming from the application part, from a particular customer, okay, from the infra part, this team is going to handle that. So that's why they have to make sure whether we have the right kind of tools on AWS platform as well, which help us to monitor the application, which help us to support the application in a very, very efficient way. So once they will find out that they have the same kind of a tool or some additional tool, some great value tool, and they have on AWS platform, then they can easily move from on-premises to AWS. So these were the six kind of tools, six kind of perspectives which were having these kind of capabilities, and like based on these perspective, companies makes out the decision and whether they have to move from their on-premises infra to AWS cloud or not. Okay, so let's take the key takeaways of this section as well. So cloud adoption is not instantaneous for most organizations. Definitely, like it is not very easy process. People think, okay, let's move to cloud. So when you are using something from past 30 years, then you have to think twice whether you have to change the whole infra, because you are changing the whole platform. That's why. So it requires a very thoughtful, deliberate strategy and alignment across the whole organization. So that's to think twice. They have to make a particular strategy team. They have to think multiple times, and they have to check all the possibilities whether they have to move to AWS cloud or not. Then we have the AWS CAF, that is the Cloud Adoption Framework, which was created to help the organizations develop efficient and effective plans for the cloud adoption journey. We have already seen the 6 perspectives and the capabilities. Based on that, they can take the decision whether they want to move to AWS or not. So AWS Cloud is having 6 areas of focus known as perspectives, and each perspective is having the business or technology capabilities. So there are 3 perspectives for business goals, there are 3 perspectives for technical goals or technical capabilities. Okay, so all these, with the help of these capabilities, companies or organization can take a decision whether they want to migrate to cloud or not. Okay, so this brings us to the end of module number 1. So let me just tell you the summary of the module. So what we have learned in this module, first of all, now we know what are different kind of cloud computing models, whether it is deployment models or service models, and the difference between them we know, and describe then like what are the advantages of cloud computing. We have already know what are the advantages, and then recognize the main AWS services catalogs. I have already show you the service catalogs, how the services looks, the catalog look. Inside the catalog we have different kind of services, and then review the AWS cloud adoption framework. So we have already seen what is cloud adoption framework, what are the 6 pillars, what are the capabilities of each pillars of cloud adoption framework. Okay guys, so let me just ask you one simple question, and then we're going to wrap up this module and we're going to start with another module. So just answer me this sample question. Okay, so let me read out the question. So why is AWS more economical than traditional data center for applications with varying compute workload? First option is because EC2, Amazon EC2, which is a part of a compute service, costs are billed on a monthly basis. Second, customers retains full administrative access to their EC2 instances. C, Amazon EC2 instances can be launched on demand when needed. Fourth, customers can permanently run enough instances to handle peak workload. So you can read out the question again. I will give you a few seconds to answer this query. Then I'm going to tell you the explanation. There is a correct answer as well. Okay, very good. I got multiple answers. And most of you are correct. It's a single answer. Shrikant, until and unless in your examination also, it is not there, it is not explicitly written, choose two or select two, you have to consider it as a single answer only. Okay, Shrikant? It's a single answer. Yeah, please answer, Shrikant. Okay, so I got multiple answers and most of are correct. Okay, so let me just reveal the answer. So the correct answer is C. Now in each question, this is a very simple question. You will get a very lengthy questions which will consume a lot of time. So you have to make a habit to read out the question very with a very good focus. Okay, so what they are telling, here they have defined AWS more economical than traditional. So how we have to think in this way that when it comes to varying compute load, how AWS is more economical than traditional. So the first one is EC2 costs are billed on monthly basis. It is not bringing any economy to the difference between the traditional and your AWS part, because that's the bill you will get. Whatever servers you have purchased, if you will use those service for suppose 10 years, you can divide the into a monthly basis also. Same way, AWS will also get a monthly bill. B, customers retains full administrative access to their EC2. In on-premises also, the customer, all the people are having, all that particular organization having complete access. Here also we are having a complete access on EC2. Now, why the third is correct? Because EC2 instances can be launched on demand. That's the difference. Because if there's a varying compute, if suppose today, there is a compute requirement of 5 machines based on the customer traffic. Now, the customer load has increased to 50%. That means now you have to add more compute. So inside the traditional data and centers, you cannot add it instantly. You have to order it. But when we are using EC2, when we are using AWS environment or cloud computing, that time we can launch the machines on demand. That's why C is correct. Now, why D is not correct? Customers are permanently run enough instances to handle peak workload. You can run any kind of instances, but that is not bringing any difference. Okay. So that's why the correct answer is C. The EC2 instance can be launched on demand when needed. That is the main fund of cloud computing as well. Okay, question is not clear. So that's why you have to read the question. The question is telling why AWS is more economical, like cheaper. Economy means it is cheaper and it is very effective to use than traditional data center when it comes to varying compute load. Varying compute load means based on the customer traffic, you are varying your compute power. So in starting, you were using 3 machines, you were using 3 machines which contains a to host the application. Now suppose tomorrow your application traffic gets higher, it got higher to 50%, it got increased to 50%. That times you need more machines. That means you are varying your compute workload. To support that extra traffic, you need more machine. So that is the meaning of varying compute workload. So how AWS is more economical than traditional when it comes to varying compute workload. I hope it is clear now. Is it an exam question? Maybe it would have came along, very much back. I don't think this will be an exam question. There will be some practice question of AWS. It is a practice question from Amazon and only because the whole course is designed by AWS only, guys. But don't worry, when I'm going to take you to that exam readiness session, I'm going to ask you 50 plus around 50 questions which have already come into the examination. But please answer these also because these are the practice set questions. Okay, Mani. Okay, guys. So this brings us to the end of this module. So these are some additional resources, nothing but the documentation or YouTube videos. So once you will get the access, you can check out this. Whatever details whatever knowledge I provided you, you will get same kind of a knowledge or some additional points. Okay, that's it. This was about module number 1. So let's take 5 minutes break. It's already past 8. So let's take 5 minutes break, and once we will be back from break, we're going to start with module number 2. So I'll see you after 5 minutes, guys. Thank you. Hello everyone. So let's continue with the session. I hope you guys are back. Okay, so let's start with another module now. That is module number 2. Now this module will be all about cloud economics and billing. Okay, so let's check out what is the agenda. So this the module overview is the topics which we are going to cover in this module are first of all what is the fundamental of AWS pricing. Then what is the meaning of AWS? What is the meaning of total cost of ownership? What does this terms means? After that, we are going to check out one service that is AWS organization, which is used to manage multiple AWS accounts. After that, we are going to check what is AWS billing and cost management. What are the different kind of services which are aligned towards this billing and cost management. Then the final topic will be technical support. What are the different level of technical supports AWS is providing to all the customers? One demo will be there, overviewing of the billing dashboard, and then one activity will be there of AWS pricing calculator. So we will have one pricing calculator from where you can calculate the price of the particular resource, a particular service which you want to use it to create an application infrastructure. Then there will be one single question for the knowledge check. So that will be the whole module overview. Okay. So once you will complete this module, what you're going to learn, you will be able to explain what is AWS pricing philosophy, how AWS charge you, and then how to recognize fundamental pricing characters. What are different kind of fundamental of pricing in AWS? Indicates the elements of total cost of ownership. What is total cost of ownership? What are the elements? Discuss the results of the AWS pricing calculator. So we're going to do one activity. I'm going to give you one, one problem statement as an homework, and you can calculate the pricing of that particular components of the infrastructure. Then identify how to set up an organizational structure that simplifies billing and account visibility to review the cost data. So this is about the billing part. We're going to check out the different kind of billing components. Identify the functionality of AWS Billing Cloud. You will be able to identify the functionality of AWS Billing dashboard, and then describe how to use AWS Bills, the cost explorer, AWS budgets, and AWS cost and usage report services, which are the part of billing and cost, AWS billing and cost services. And the final thing you're going to learn here, how you will be able to identify the various AWS technical support plans and feature. What are different kind of technical support plans are there, and what are the features of each and every AWS technical support plan. Okay, so let's start with the section 1, which tells you about the fundamentals of pricing. So AWS pricing model mainly having three fundamental drivers of cost. So in like three ways they're going to charge you. First one is compute. So whenever you're creating any server, like maybe a database server or your web server to host your application, so how you're going to be charged when you're using a compute server? That time you're going to be charged per hour. So for example, per hour or per second. And it varies by instance type. So let me just explain you both of the points here. Let's come to the first point. So for example, suppose you have created one EC2 machine. That EC2 machine you have created, suppose you want to test some feature, you are a developer, you want to test some feature, and for that you have created one EC2 machine and you have used that machine for 5 hours. So you will be, and suppose for each hour, the rate for using that particular EC2 machine was $5. So for 5 hours, your total will of using that particular virtual machine, that is your compute machine, will be $25. That's it. So based on the hour, the billing will be there. Like inside the compute, there are few instance, plans, like pricing plans where you can also get the billing per second. Suppose if you're using, any like I will tell you once you will go to the ECT section, then I will tell you how for which kind of instance you will be charged per second also. But the main funda is there. You have to understand whenever you are using any server, you're creating any server, or you're creating any machine on AWS platform, you will be charged per hour or per second. And now, how the charging will be different from instance type. So suppose you have created one compute machine which contains only like 4 VPC, virtual CPU, your central processing units, 4 VPCs, and 4 GB of RAM. And that is costing you around $5 per hour. Suppose you are going for, like higher compute machines, which is having 16 VPCU, 32 GB of RAM. So that will be charged more. Suppose it is charging $15 per hour. So based on the instance type, based on the combination of your VPCU and RAM, you will be charged on the compute. If you are using any, if like any, machine which is of very high compute, you will be charged more. If you are creating any machine of the low compute, you will be charged lower. So it depends on the compute. VPC is virtual VPCU. Money says VPCU, like, if you remember, you would be having your, you would have used your desktop. Inside the desktop, there was one central processing unit. Like that, since this is a virtual format, the whole cloud computing is a virtual world. So here we are using a virtual central processing unit. Central processing unit is the like this is the brain of your system, which is going to process, which is going to create and control all the computer processes. Okay, Mani? It is your CPU only, which you have used when you were having your desktops. Okay, the same thing is inbuilt in your laptops also. Laptop also is having a CPU unit. On your motherboard. Okay, so but when we are talking about the AWS platform, everything is virtual. That's why it is known as virtual CPUs. Okay, so now you come to know. Now you got both points. How you will charge for compute. The second is a storage. So whether you are storing your like application data like PDFs, your like files, text files, PDF files, images, videos, whatever you are storing, you will be charged per GB. For example, if you are storing 100 GB of data, your application data, you have created one, like EBS storage or EFS or S3, you are storing 100 GB of data. You will be charged for 100 GB. Suppose for per GB, the charge was $1. So for 100 GB, you will be charged $100. Sorry, per month. It will be monthly charging. So whenever you are using any storage kind of a service, you will be charged per GB. Now the third thing comes the data transfer. Now there are two kind of a data transfer. One is your inbound transfer, other one is your outbound transfer. Inbound means incoming. Like suppose, let me give an example of mobile call. Any mobile call coming to your phone, that will be an incoming call to you. So you can consider it as a incoming or inbound data. Suppose any request is coming from the customer to your AWS platform, to the application hosted on the AWS platform. That is the incoming or the inbound traffic. And what is outbound traffic? So suppose for your cell phone, when you are calling someone from your mobile, suppose you are calling your friend, that will be a outgoing call. The same way, when you are sending a response from your application to the customer, that is the outbound, like outbound transfer, outbound traffic. So got it? What is the meaning of inbound and outbound? Inbound means incoming, outbound means outgoing, going out from your side and coming into your side is inbound. So all the outbound is chargeable. All the traffic which you are sending, all the responses which you're sending from your end to the customer will be chargeable. You will get an additional network charge. This data transfer comes under the network charges. And by default, all the inbound traffic is having no charge. Whatever customer request is coming to your to your application server, that will be free. You won't be charged for the inbound request. Only for the outbound data transfer, you will be charged. And these charges are per GB. Suppose you have like in a particular day, you have transferred your outbound data transfer was about 10 GB. Then you will be charged for 10 GB outbound data transfer. So you will get these kind of charges reflecting in your monthly bills inside a particular region. I will tell you what is AWS region a bit later. Suppose like inside a particular like when you're using your application, you can check all these charges inside your AWS bill. Okay, so money is asking something, which means that they are taking care of our own customer by not charging for but for us they charge. Actually, The incoming is free, outgoing is chargeable. The same thing, like the telecom industry choose. They're not charging for the incoming request, they're only charging you for sending out the data to the customer, the outgoing things. You can take it in any way. Okay, Mani. Okay, so this was about, and one more thing I'll just tell you that is an additional point. Outbound is also charged with some particular limitations. So, for example, if suppose your for all the traffic which is going to the customer, which is going to your customer who is trying to access your application, so you are sending the outbound traffic as a response, that will be charged. But for example, suppose you have your application sources inside the same region. Suppose the region means, suppose let's take an example of a Mumbai region. We have the infra in India based out in Mumbai region. Suppose you have created an application inside a Mumbai region, and your whole application resources like your load balancers, server, database, everything is under the same region. So all the components will also communicate to each other. So in that, all the data outbound charges will be free of cost if everything is inside the same region. If suppose you have created your infra in two regions like Mumbai and in US, that is two regions. Now you are trying to communicate between both using the outbound traffic also. That time you will get charged. So outbound traffic is not chargeable if your whole infra is created inside the same region. It will be only chargeable if your infra is created in multiple region. If you're sending some data outside any region, secondly, all the data which is going to the customer, to the to the client machine, that is chargeable. Okay, so that is one kind of a like difference is there. Incoming and outgoing is the incoming and outgoing means money. So like yesterday I have told you, how the how the communication works. Suppose you are trying to access one application from a mobile like Amazon.com. So you are a client machine. You are sending a request to Amazon.com servers to give you all the options of different kind of G's available on its platform. So that will go from your mobile as a request to Amazon server, and Amazon is going to, so consider that particular request as a incoming request to Amazon.com server. Now Amazon.com server is going to send out the data to you, so that the data will be reflected in your the data will be reflected in your mobile. So that is outbound traffic. It is sending. The traffic contains all the information which you are requesting. That is the response. Okay, now is it clear? Is it clear, Money? Incoming and outgoing? Okay. Now somebody is asking, what will compute part consist, sir? Compute part consists the server. Compute contains a server. It is a server. On server only you are going to create a database. On a server only you are going to deploy the application. So you have to create the servers. Okay, so that is the compute part. So you will be charged per hour for the compute. Data transfer here, I think just now I've explained to Money. I think this would be clear. The data transfer in the form of request, and yeah, in compute it's mentioned Linux only. No, actually, like they have just mentioned it is a star. Okay, they have mentioned Linux only. It applies for both, for Linux, for all. I think Linux, your Windows and Mac OS. You will be charged per hour. Okay. So now somebody is asking, they have not understood this storage part. Storage part, like when you're storing some application data, okay, in the form of video files, your like suppose you are running an e-commerce company, you are having a lot of data. People, your customers are uploading the videos, customers are making reel, customers are uploading the photos. So where are you going to store? You're going to store somewhere. That will be a storage components like S3 bucket. So suppose you have stored 100 GB of data, so you're going to be charged for 100 GB of data per month. Okay, Prasad, you got it now? Okay, now somebody is asking me, server will run 24/7, then is it cost more? Definitely, because server will run. Application won't be down, it will run 24/7. You can access Amazon.com in night also, you can access Amazon.com in morning also, anytime. Yes, you will be charged. But there are some plans that can bring down the cost. We are going to discuss in the compute section. Okay guys, for compute on Linux, don't worry about this, only Linux. It is not only applicable to Linux, print for Windows, for Mac OS, everything is chargeable. You will get charged per hour for both, for all three, for Linux servers, Windows servers, or your Mac OS servers. Okay guys. So one time investment is there, but that investment is very huge. What do you think? Server will come into 1000 rupees? or 2,000 or 5,000. You have to spend in lakhs to get the servers. That's the thing. But you won't. I will show you. Just have patience. I will show you the difference. Okay, how much difference is there? We are having one example in the in the coming slides. They will come to know what is the difference. How much is the difference? Okay, how much is the difference will be there when you're using a like your on-premises servers for multiple years, when you're using your your AWS servers for multiple years. Okay, so in data transfer we are charging per GB, but you need to charge again per hour per second in compute, because both are different things. Prasad, data transfer is a networking component. Okay, so with the help of network you are sending out the data. So on compute your application is running. So for that there will be different charges. Okay, both are different charging components. Compute is used to deploy your application server, your database and all. So for that also you are using some service. You have to pay for those services. Those are different services. Data transfer comes inside the network services. There's a component network services. So that are the different charges. Okay, that's why. I hope I've answered all the queries. So let's go ahead, guys. Now, how do you pay for AWS? First of all, pay for what you use. Suppose today I'm using two database servers, like four machines, four EC2 machines, two for database, to deploy my database, and two for my web services, for my web servers. So totally, I'm using four servers, and four servers I've used for a month. So I'll be only charged for those four servers only, for those four compute machines only. I won't be charging anything extra. So the simple funda is pay for what you are using. If you're not using anything, suppose somebody was telling me if someone has created any account 1 month back, if he has not touched any service, then he could see there won't be any billing for him, because if you're not using anything on the platform, you won't be charged. Okay. Second, pay less when you reserve. Reserve means when you are creating a contract with them. Suppose you told, okay, you have started a company and you have a product which is pretty much stable. Now you told, okay, now my product will run in the market. So you have made a contract with AWS that we are going to use your machines, use your compute machines for 3 years. So you have created a contract of 3 years. So when you're creating a contract, that time you are going to save some money. You're going to pay less when you reserve, because you are reserving those instances for 3 years. Okay, it is kind of a wholesale kind of a stuff. In retail, when you go to a retail market, you will find the prices of the products are higher. But when you go to wholesale market, you buy the products in bulk, you will find you have to pay a bit less. Same way, when you are reserving any instances, like making a contract with them that I'm going to reserve 3 instances for 3 years, then they're going to charge you a bit lesser. Maybe they're going to charge you around 80% less. Suppose a normal instance was costing around $5 per hour, and maybe when you're using this reserve kind of a structure and you're making a contract, you will be only charged for charges $1 per hour. So that's how it is very, very effective. Here companies used to reserve the instances. That's how they can bring down the cost of the infra. And now the third point is that pay less when you use more and as AWS grows. Suppose you have reserved instances and now AWS is growing. Yesterday we have seen an example of economies of scale. If the AWS is going to grow, they're going to give some discount on each services. And ultimately, when we're getting the discount, that means we are reducing the cost of the infra. Okay. So suppose you are you've done you have reserved instances, then too, if suppose AWS is making a huge business, they're growing around 50% each year, then they're going to reduce the cost of the infra. Suppose the same instance which you were charged $1 per hour, now you're charged only $0.8 per hour. So ultimately, when AWS is going to grow, they're going to give you a discount on services, which makes finally you have to pay less. So that's how you're going to pay for AWS. Okay, guys. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah, it's like wholesale money. Okay, so now let's move ahead, guys. Now, pay for what you use. We're going to discuss all the things in detail. Pay only for the services that you consume with no large upfront expenses. Definitely, there is no concept of upfront cost. What is the meaning of upfront upfront expenses, I'll tell you first. Upfront means you are paying for the services at the starting. Till now, you have not used the services. You are paying for the services before only. Before using that service, you are paying for the service. That is the meaning of upfront expenses. So, in on-premises, everything is upfront because to deploy the application, you need a server. So you are investing, you are expending your amount upfrontly because for deploying that application, first you have to create the data center, and then you have to deploy all the machines. You have to integrate all the machines. So that is your upfront expense, and that is not in the case of AWS. Now look at the left side diagram. Suppose there was any company who have started their business. So initial days, okay, they've invested suppose 1 million here on creating the data center, bringing out all the all the components, integrating them, providing the security to the data center and all. Now the application is running and application is growing slowly. Now after 6 months, they found that they were able to attract the customer and now their application is growing, so they need more servers. So now they have ordered few more servers. So now it is also added in the expense, the upfront expense. Now after 1 year, they found their business is gradually growing very faster. So now they have to invest more money in infra. So when you're using on-premises, this investment will go on higher. It won't go lower. It will go higher as your business will grow. But that is not the case of AWS. In AWS, suppose you initially started with 2 servers. You have deployed an application and you started with only 2 servers. And look at this, you are paying little sum of amount. Now suppose after 6 months, your application has hit the market and you can see 200% customer traffic, like increase in the customer traffic. So for that you have created more machines, you have increased your infra, you have created more machines with the help of AWS services. So now the costing has increased. Now suppose after 6 months you found there is a slowdown in the business. That time you don't have to keep these machines for you. You can simply terminate the extra machines and you will be charged more. But here on premises, where you will what you will do with that machine. If suppose your business is going down, suppose today you have created the infra for entertaining around 2x customer per day on your application. Now after 6 months, you only found 1 lakh percent traffic per day on your application. It is reducing almost 1 lakh of traffic per day. So now what you will do? What you will do with that infra? You have to keep it because you are owing that infra. You are owing that infra. That's why you have to keep that. Otherwise, if you will sell that extra infra, you will not get the proper rates. You have to sell it as a reused item. That's why all the infra will be owned by you. It will be a lot of upfront expenses. But here we are not having any upfront expenses. Tomorrow, if you want to shut down your company, don't have to just simply delete all the infra. Just pay the AWS bill of that month. Tada! Your company's product is got out of the market. So that's why there is no upfront cost. We are only paying for what we are using. Okay, guys. Question is still I can't hear. Okay, what about other can hear? Sonia can't hear me. Sonia, can you please reconnect because I think there is some issue at your end, some network issue. Just try to reconnect because others can hear me. Okay, guys. So now we understood pay what you use. Now let's go to the second thing, that is pay less when you reserve. So I was telling you, we are making a contract with AWS that we are going to reserve your capacity. We are going to reserve your compute machines, and based on that, you're going to provide me some discount because we are going to reserve your machines. So we have to pay a bit less as compared to the normal infra. So there are 3 kind of, here it is telling, invest in reserve instances. It will save up to 75%, which is a huge cost. Suppose you are investing around $100 per single machine normally on an on-demand compute, and now suppose you are using a reserve instances, you can save up to 75%. Means you only have to pay $25 for that particular machine, like you were paying around $100 for that on-demand machine. Okay, so look at this. There are 3 options to reserve the instances. First one is all upfront reserved instances, which gives you the largest discount. Now just check out the diagram. First let me just tell you about all 3. Then I am going to differentiate you with the help of background. This diagram. The second one is partial upfront reserve instances, a bit lower discount. And the final one is no upfront payment reserve instances, which is a smaller discount. Now let's check out this diagram. It's easy to instance why it is showing here, because it is used to create the compute machines. The service which is used to create the compute machine. Now suppose you are running your application on-demand instances, because it is the concept of AWS. It is providing you on-demand compute, on-demand storage, etc., etc. For example, we are deployed our application on-demand instances, on-demand EC2 machines. So that time we are costing we have to pay a bit higher. For example, suppose the you know that like per hour cost was this $10 of this particular compute machine. Now suppose if I am using a reserved instances, the instances which we are reserving as a part of contract are known as reserved instances. Now suppose we are using reserved instances, and the first one is your all upfront reserved instances. This is the all upfront reserved instances. So here you will be paying very less. Now what do we mean by all upfront reserved instances? So suppose like you are an stable company and you are moving to cloud. Your product is stable already. You have millions of users using it. So what you're going to do, you have to save a lot of money. You want to save a lot of money. That's why you're moving to cloud. You want to save time, you want to save money. That was the concept of cloud computing we have seen. So when you're using all upfront, that time you have made a commitment or you have made a contract with AWS that we are going to pay you the all amount of a particular reserved instances in advance. So giving all upfront amount. Suppose you have reserved instances for 3 years. In 3 years, the amount was around $20,000 for using a single machine. So you have paid that amount in the starting of the contract, and now you are using that 3 machines for a year. So for that you are going to get a lot of discount because you have trusted them. You have already given the amount in advance, and when you're giving the more advance amount in advance, that means AWS has already got the payment for 3 years. They're going to give you the highest discount, that is around 75%. So anything was costing $10 on-demand instance, here using all upfront reserve instances, it will only cost you $2.5. You are saving up to 75%. Now coming to the second part, that is the partial upfront reserve instances. Now the same thing, like I am a mid-sized company, I don't have that kind of upfront cost. So what I told you, okay, AWS told, okay, so for reserving this kind of instances, the total amount is coming around 20,000. You told, okay, we don't have that kind of amount. We'll give you 5,000 as an upfront cost, and then the remaining 15,000 you can segregate into monthly bills or quarterly bills or yearly bills. That's the meaning of partial upfront. We are not paying the whole amount in the upfront. We are paying some portion of the amount in the upfront, the advance amount. So in those $20,000 payment, I was only giving 5,000 dollar payment as the partial upfront amount to Amazon, and the rest amount I've told them that you can segregate into monthly bills or yearly or quarterly bills, so they can plan like that. So here you will get the discount, but discount will be lesser as compared to all upfront reserve instances. Though this discount will be very much effective as compared to on demand. All these reserve instances will be economical as compared to on demand. But when I'm talking about the difference between all upfront and partial upfront, then all upfront will have a larger discount, partial upfront will have a little lesser discount, because we are only paying partial upfront cost, and the rest of the amount you're going to pay by a monthly or yearly or half yearly or quarterly scheme. Now let's come to no upfront reserve instances. Now I am a startup. I don't have any money to spend on extra because I want to save that money for my product marketing and all. I told AWS I want to use the reserve instances because I don't want to create an infra with a huge cost. So, but the thing is that okay, I'm going to reserve instances for 3 years, but I'm not going to pay you any upfront cost. Whatever cost will be there, you're going to either you can take it on a monthly basis or quarterly, like that, based on the commitment. So this is the part of no upfront reserve instances where I am not paying any advance. Everything first, I'm going to use that particular machine for a month. I will get a bill. I'm going to pay that bill. Simple as that. For second month also, I'm going to get a bill. I'm going to pay a bill, or maybe like I've taken a contract of quarterly basis. When I'm using the instances for quarterly basis, after a quarter, I'm going to get a bill. So it is no upfront reserve instances. Then too, it is like it is having a less discount as compared to you like all upfront and partial upfront. But then too, it is very much economical as compared to on demand. Maybe it is saving around 30% discount. Like all upfront is saving up to 75%. Then you can consider partial upfront can save up to 50%, and no upfront can save up to 25 to 30% as compared to on-demand instances. Because on-demand instances are very expensive instances, and if you're using like as compared to reserve instances, so that's why company use reserve instances. They just make a contract with AWS. They make a commitment with AWS. So all the instances will be assigned to you, those instances, and you can use it for a part of contract. The minimum contract is 1 year. The maximum is 3 years. And after the contract ends, they will ask you whether you want to renew the contract. If you're going to renew the contract, then you will get the contract, another contract. The contract will get renewed either minimum for 1 year and maximum for 3 years. If suppose you are not renewing the contract, then those reserve instances will be automatically transformed into on-demand instances. Then once your contract is over, then you will be charged per hour as the on-demand instance price. So these are the three kind of a pricing philosophy of reserve instances. I hope it is clear to each and every one of you. Okay. No, maximum 3 years you can reserve. Then you have to resubscribe. Okay. Like you're using Netflix money. How we can, for what is the maximum time to get a subscription of 1 year? Okay. And then after 1 year you have to resubscribe for Hotstar or Netflix. The same way, minimum is 1 year, maximum is 3 years. After 3 years you have to resubscribe. Okay. So I think Prasad, I've told you, reserve instance is nothing. We are just reserving the instances. We are taking the instances from them as a part of contract for minimum of 1 year or maximum of 3 years. That is the meaning of reserved instances. Upfront means advance. Upfront means advance cost money. Upfront means like suppose when I was talking about AURA, that is all upfront reserved instances. That means I was paying the bill of 3 years of those 3 machines in advance to get the maximum discount of around 75%. That is the meaning of advance payment, is the meaning of upfront payment. Okay. I was asking, sir, in upfront discount, any service we can use as per our requirement? No. This is about the compute power. I am talking about the compute. This kind of facility is only with compute. For server, this kind of a pricing philosophy is only for server. You can only reserve the servers. And how to create the servers? With the help of TCP machines. I think I've answered all the queries. Yes. Okay, guys, let's move ahead. I think these concepts are clear with you. Okay, now they're telling pay less by using more. So now, okay, you want me to explain Nuri. There is no upfront. Okay, no upfront means, suppose I don't have to pay anything in advance. When no upfront means no advance. I will use your service and I will pay it in the part of monthly or quarterly bills. Suppose I have made a contract with you, I'm going to use the reserve instances. So now AWS is clear that their capacity, what happens? These all compute powers are inside big racks. They used to have a big machines, compute machines, and in that they're going to give you some compute power to each and every client from that shared resource. So they know that in a particular compute, rack, in a particular compute hardware, this portion, a particular portion is already reserved by money. So they are, like they don't have any tension that for 3 years, money is going to pay me for this because it is a contract. Whether money uses it or not, I'm going to get a bill for that because they have the prices already. So that means you are not paying anything in advance. What you told, I am a small company, I can't pay the advance amount. You can just assign me 3 instances and I will pay you in monthly bills. So suppose for first 3, for using those 3 instances, my first month bill came up to $750. I'll pay you $750 as a monthly bill. Like that I will continue for 3 years. Okay. Yeah, we get the discount. We get around 30% of discount in no front. That's why reserve instances are cheaper as compared to on demand. Yeah. The concept is pay as per use. Pay as per your usage means whatever resources you are creating, for that you are going to pay. That is the meaning of pay as per your usage. So whether you use reserve instances, whether you are using on demand, it is a concept of pay as per your usage. Reserve instances is making a bit discounter. It is giving you the same services in a discounting price. That's it. Okay, now let's see what is pay less by using more. So there are few saving plans as well. So like for this enterprise and all, AWS used to create the savings plans. So these savings plans will also have some additional discounts. So with the help of the saving plans, like big enterprises can get attractive discounts. Okay. Now what is the tiered pricing? The tiered pricing, which I will tell you the concept of tiered pricing. So the tiered pricing is the discount which is applied on a particular tier, a given tier. Now let me tell you with the help of an example. Suppose you went to the market, a wholesale market told, I want to buy first, like you want to buy 100 items. Suppose I'm talking about the tiered pricing. So for first 100 item, the wholesaler told the pricing will be 5 rupees per item. Now you told, okay, now I want to buy 100 additional items, 100 more items. So you told, now the next year pricing will be, so in starting you buy 100 items for 5 rupees per item. That was the first tier. Now you told, I want 100 more items. That is the second tier. So inside the second tier, he told, okay, I will give you 1 rupees discount on each item. Now the same item will cost you 4 rupees. So for initially for the first tier, the each item was costing 5 rupees. Now on the second tier, each item is costing 4 rupees. Based on that, you will get the tier of discount. So you're getting discount on different tiers. So if I will take an example, like there's an example of Amazon S3. So Amazon S3 also based on the tiering prices. All your story is based on the tiering prices. How they give tier? Suppose you are storing 100 GB of data. AWS tells for storing first 100 GB of data, they are going to give you on this particular charge. Suppose for first 100 GB, I'm going to charge you $5 per GB. Now for storing next 100 GB, on the top of that 100 GB, whatever data you are going to store, that will be charged only $4 per GB. That's the meaning of tiered pricing. The first tier, that is 100 GB, was charging $5. The next tier, on the top of the 100 GB, whatever additional data you are going to store, for that per GB will be charged only $4. That is the meaning of tiered pricing. On each tier, you're getting some kind of a discounts. So these storage services are having this tiered, what is it? Tiered pricing. The same thing. Tier, you can say though, like a rack. Like, on one rack, you will get this kind of a discount. When you're using one more rack, on the top of the old rack, you will get more discount. As you grow, as your application will grow, I will give you more discount on each tier. That is the meaning of tier discount. So it mainly applies on the storage. Okay. So suppose you are storing the same way, storing 100 GB first, you will be charged this amount per GB. If you are storing additional 100 GB on the top of that 100 GB, you will be charged a bit lesser. You will get some discount on the storing, like on this tier pricing. The third one is multiple storage services delivers lower storage cost based on the need. So actually, definitely, like we have seen the example, how to choose a compute service based on the requirement. Same way, based on a requirement, there are few options of lower storage cost which you can use. So we have multiple storages. We are going to discuss in detail in the storage portion, which is costlier, which is less costlier. We have multiple options. We are going to discuss there. But for now, you should know the few storage which are costlier and there are few storage which are less costlier. So based on your business requirement, based on your technical goals, you can use those kind of storages. Okay, guys. Okay, and apart from that, they also provide a volume discount. What is this volume pricing discount? Suppose you are using, like high volume of services. Suppose you are using you're getting lot of infrastructure on AWS. You are very, big enterprises. So, if you're having a huge bill of money, suppose 50, like $1 million, that kind of infra you're building on AWS. Your whole customers are applications are deployed on AWS. So then you will get this volume pricing discount. So you can ask them for flat 10% discount, flat 5% discount based on the huge volume. That is the meaning of volume pricing. Volume pricing discount, where you are using the services in huge volume and which is accumulating a huge base, and you can ask for a discount using that, like on this huge volume basis. Okay. Okay, guys. So let's check out this also. Pay even less as AWS growth. The same way, AWS focus on lowering cost of doing business, definitely. Like since 2006, when AWS has started, they have lowered the price 75 times. So suppose any service, whatever they were charging in 2006, suppose they were charging for any S3 bucket of creating an S3 bucket, or suppose of storing 1 GB of data on S3 bucket, they were charging $10 that time. Now they reduced to $1. So they have revised the pricing around 75%. Yes, so 75 times within this year as of 2019, and they are keeping it doing because they are getting more business, they are getting more clients. So when they are growing, they are also helping you to grow. They are also giving you some profit out of their profit sharing. Okay. So this practice results in AWS passing savings from economics of scale. So definitely they are passing some discounts to us also, which helps us also to bring the overall cost of the infra. Future higher performing resources replaces current resources for no extra costs. Yeah, definitely, they're updating the systems also. Whatever was there, like based on the current market. Suppose, previously, if you will go back 10 years back, we were running our, like we were using systems built with CPU of Pentium 4, Intel Core, first processor, second processor. Now we are on Intel 10, Intel 7, Octa processor, 16 processors are there. So those are the future high performing sources. So they are replacing those. Whatever is out of the market, they are keeping it aside and they are updating their components so that you will get like all the resources, a high performing resources as per the market standards. Okay, so that they are doing of no cost. You don't have to worry about it. You will get the machine to use and you can use that. Okay, so this is how if you will pay even less as AWS grows, you can save more money. Now AWS free tier account. So like you can create a AWS free tier account, which will enable you to gain free hands-on experience with AWS platform product and services. It is free for 1 year. You have to simply sign up for the account. It will only take 10 minutes to create the whole account, and then you can start using the services. Simple. For 1 year, there is a capping. It is not like that they are giving you 12 months to explore their AWS platform, but there's a capping of using few services. Few essential services you can use for free, but there will be few services which are chargeable. So all the details are there on the AWS platform, as well as when you will create a AWS account, you will get it under the free tier plan. You can check out. Suppose, for example, they give you 750 hours per month to create the compute server for free. So if suppose you are running any server for 750 hours, you won't be charged anything. Suppose if that deadline if that threshold cross to 750 hours, then you have to pay for 10 hours. Like that, there are multiple cappings also you can read out. That's why I'm not asking you to use the AWS account now. Use the Canvas and Sandbox so that you won't be charged for anything. Okay, now I have just got one video for you. This is some extra part, okay? So here who have created the account, it's good. Who have not created the account, let's check out how to create the AWS account. So for that, you have to log into aws.amazon.com. I'm going to share this URL, aws.amazon.com. And then you will come up to this page. You have to click on complete sign up. Once you will click on sign up, you have to click on create an AWS account, create a new AWS account. It's a simple process like you create a Facebook account, Insta account, your any account. Okay. So just click on create an AWS account. You can see it is telling it is 12 months of free tier accesses. You can access EC2, DynamoDB, S3, multiple services. Now you have to provide your email ID. You can provide your email ID like any or like a Gmail ID you can provide. You can provide a password. So this will be your first level of authentication. You need your ID and password. If you have seen, I've logged in with my credentials to AWS Management Console. And then you have to provide the AWS account name. So you can put your like any name, your nickname. Click on continue. Now you have to and decide whether you have to create this account for professional or personal. Suppose you are working in a company, you want to create a professional account for your company. Then you can create a professional account. If you want to create it for your personal, for your personal learning, for your personal projects, you can use it a personal. Options are same, just they are checking whether you want it for a professional purpose or for a personal purpose. So now we are selecting personal, or you want to learn the AWS technology. You can provide the full name, the name, like your name, your mobile number, your country, your region, your city, state, the basic things. which we have to provide for creating any kind of a account. So here you are selecting the country, the state, the postal code, all the details the user is going to select here. Okay, so let me just, yeah. So look at this, he's selected Canada, he's putting the address and he's putting the city, and now he has put all the things, state provision code. He has click on the, click on some AWS custom agreement, and then your option will be enabled to create AWS account. So click on create account and continue. Everything is basic. There's just simply go through the steps. That's it. So once you will click on create account and continue, then you will be navigated to another page. Okay, so let's see where it is navigating to. So now here you have to add your debit or credit card. Why they wanted to add your debit and credit card? Because since it is a free account, then to have told you there is some capping. You can't use all the service for free. Suppose in case you fall into some some service which is chargeable to you, then you will be accumulating some bill. So they want to know whether you have some kind of account from where you can pay that bill. So that's why they are adding your credit and debit card. But they are not going to do a auto debit until unless you have done the configuration to auto debit from the account. Every time they're going to send you the bill, then you can pay the bill. Okay. If suppose you have enabled the auto debit feature, then only each month the whatever bill will be accumulated, your account will be deducted for that same amount automatically. So it depends on you whether you want to configure the auto debit or not. Okay, so now he is providing the credit card details, expiration date, card holder name, and some billing contact. The basic details which we add on any website, like for doing the payment, like when you're booking for some food from Swiggy or Zomato, you provide the same stuff. Okay, and once you will provide all the details, after that you have to click on verify. You have to click on verify and add. Now from here on this step, AWS is going to check whether you are not a robot, you are a person who is real, and they want to just do a verification. So for that there are two ways of verification. First is the text based, second is a voice call. So you can prefer the voice call. You will get a call on your registered number, and from there they will ask you to enter the code. That code you have to enter, and then your verification is completed. So I think user is going to do a voice call. So here user is going to select the voice call, and you have to provide your phone number on which you will get a call from AWS. You will get an instant call, and here you need to provide the security check. So this is an security check. You have to put this code over here and click on contact me. So once you will click on contact me, you're going to get a call, and one code will be reflecting on your AWS screen, on this software screen. Now look at this. Once you will click on contact me, now it is verifying the user, and look at this. Call in progress. You will get a call parallelly, and you have to enter this 4-digit. It will be it will be a automated call. It will ask you to enter the 4-digit, the validation digit. You have to put it, and once you will put, then automatically it will say your identity has been successfully verified. You can click on continue now. So once you will click on continue, now this is there are three kind of plans which AWS is providing. The basic plan, these are the different kind of support plans which we will discuss later. So basic plan is there, which you are going to select because we will use it for learning. When you will move to developer, you have to charge. You will be charged $29 per month. You will get some additional support, and when you will go for business plan, you will be charged from $100 per month. That will be the fixed price for giving you more services that we are going to discuss in the technical part. So for now, you should understand there are three kind of plans AWS is providing: basic, developer, and business plan. So here we are going to choose basic plan, which is free plan, because we want to learn this technology. We want to use it for our own. Okay, so click on basic plan free, which is free. Now look at this. Your account has been created. Now you can sign into console. So it is not like that today you have requested for the account. After 2 days, your account will be verified successfully. No, it will take only 5 to 10 minutes. Then you will get one confirmation email on your registered email ID that you have used for creating the account. Then now you can use your AWS account. So once you will get that email, you can click on sign into the console. The process is very fast. Within the creation of an account, so within few minutes you will get the confirmation email, and you can start clicking on signing on to the console, and you can access your account. So you have to click on signing on the console, And once you will click on signing to the console, you will be navigated to the screen from where I have logged in. So like either you can provide your like you can sign it, like you have to provide your email address and then your password, and then finally you will be navigated to the AWS management console screen. So that is the whole process of creating the AWS free tier account, guys. Okay, so I'm going to stop the session here. It's 9 o'clock. So if you have any questions, you can ping me. I'm going to provide you one form. Please fill this form for me. It is a feedback form. It will help me a lot. So I'll just put it here. So on tomorrow onwards, can we discuss Amazon exam questions for each module? No, money. I am going to go as per the schedule. You will get the question. Why are you worried? Just understand the concept first. Okay. Why are you worried about question? You have to mug up. I will give you the some directory. Will you mug up the questions? Don't worry. I will tell you. You will get. I will discuss all the questions. I will discuss some questions, but let that particular time come. First understand all the concepts. And don't worry, whatever things I'm asking you, whatever things like I'm asking you, you will get some kind of a questions from there also. Don't worry. Each day I'm going to ask you a few questions based on what I have taught you in the previous section. So don't worry. Sir, please show tomorrow. Select next slide. Oh, wait, tomorrow's slide. No. So tomorrow we are going to continue from here, guys. Just these slides. Okay, so we are going to discuss about total cost of ownership, AWS organization, all those stuff. That's it. Okay, so I've pinned you the form. Please take the form from the chat and please fill that form. And any questions, any further questions, I'll be here for another minute. And there won't be any session on the weekends. So we're going to meet on Monday. This is the weekly program. Okay. So I'll wait for another minute. Any questions? All kind of questions are welcome. Please ask. Don't hesitate. So I believe all the concepts which we have discussed today are clear. So, and I am thinking you are also providing the feedback as well. So thank you so much. Do we get notes of our class? No, like whatever thing I'll be writing on the notepad, I can give you that part. Apart from that, you have to take the notes from your end only. And all the resources are there. Why to take notes? You are having you are having the resources. You will be getting all these resources. So just take the resources for reference. If you find anything which you want to take the note, you can take the note. No, you don't have to create the account, Sandeep. Now, if you want to create the account, you can create, but please don't use it because you're going to use the Canvas account. Okay, Sandeep. It's your will. I've told you how to create that. So you can create it, but don't use that. Please use the Canvas account for doing all the labs. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your time today. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. And we're going to see you. Yeah, that I will share. The notepad, whatever notepad notes will be there, whatever notepad notes I will be writing, that I will be sharing to you. Till now, I think I have not wrote anything. I've just written the 3 cloud deployment models. So whatever I'm going to write, I'm going to share that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you on Monday. Please revise the concepts. Bye bye.